Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
Can it be already week number 6 of this high school football season? Yes, it can. And this is Friday Night Stars inside the Globe Life Studios here at the beautiful Star in Frisco. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. We have flipped the calendar over to the month of October. And you know what that means? We are diving deep into district action. Yeah. It's a great time of the year,
Got
Kyle.
Some football weather coming in quickly.
At some point. It might be November before we get that. But
I'm hoping it's coming in sometime soon. But either way, football is in full swing. You've got a lot of great matchups this week. We'll go through a couple of those early. But this is really the nitty-gritty time where playoff seeding comes into fruition.
Yes, and how about we kick things off with one of the top matchups in the entire state of Texas. I'll take it a step further. It's one of the top matchups in the nation.
Yeah.
It's Denton Ryan playing at Tim Buchanan Stadium in Aledo. It's the Raiders and the Bearcats, and this should be a dandy. Let's start by talking about these Ryan Raiders of head coach Dave Hennigan, Kyle.
Yeah, and last year they had a bit of a down year. 8-3 wasn't exactly what Ryan has as the standard for their program. They didn't have the athletes to work around. They've got some of those athletes back this season, and they've done so with the offensive tackle Ty Haywood, who's a 5-star number 4 offensive tackle in the 2025 class. They've got a big, burly offensive line that they're going to run behind. As you can see there, their defensive line is just as good. The rushing yards per game, backing up how they're able to run the football on their offensive side of things. This is a Ryan Raiders team that spreads the love around. Reynolds has over 250 yards. Warmate has 200 yards. And then they go behind Quinn Hennigan, of course, younger brother to Seth Hennigan and a son to Dave Hennigan, who, of course, is the head coach at Denton Ryan. And then Seth is playing in his final season with the Memphis Tigers as one of the top quarterbacks in the country. This is a loaded ball club. Both of the offensive line and defensive lines lead the way. This is a Ryan Raiders team looking for a bit of revenge against Aledo as well.
Yes, and okay, and the Aledo Bearcats. This is a school, a team that has won 11 state titles in the last 15 years against another Denton ISD school, Kyle. They opened the season with a 35-30 loss to Geyer. So maybe revenge against DISD is on the mind of the Aledo Bearcats.
Exactly, and they've had their way with Denton ISD recently, whether it is Geyer or, of course, over the last 2 years playing against this Ryan bunch. They took them down 25-19 last season, 35-21 the year before. They're going to have to rely on the ground game as well. Junior running back and a 4-star Racine Guillory Jr. offers from Ohio State, Tennessee, Georgia, Oregon, and Texas. He's a phenomenal prospect, a phenomenal recruit, and somebody that they need to have a good game against that front seven from Denton Ryan if the Bearcats have a shot for a 3rd straight win against the Denton Ryan Raiders.
And Aledo can do it through the air as well. Caden Finley, by the way, 28 catches, 8 touchdowns receiving as well. That should be a shootout between Aledo and Denton Ryan. But how about this matchup? Our game number 2 in District 5-6A, the Coppell Cowboys state-ranked playing at the Denton Geyer Wildcats. Let's start with those Geyer Wildcats who did beat Aledo in the season opener.
Yeah, and this is a high-flying Kevin Sperrier quarterback ball club with Denton Geyer. I really like what the Oklahoma commit, 6'1", 200 pounds, a little bit smaller for those P4 SEC quarterback recruits, but it's because he has an absolute cannon back there. 780 yards passing, 10 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He hasn't been perfect this year, but he's been going up against some of the better competition that Denton Geyer is going to see throughout the year. We mentioned how they played Aledo early on, Arlington Martin, North Crowley 2 weeks ago, where they were probably the closest team so far to defeating North Crowley outside of Lancaster back in the Jerry Jones Classic in week 1, but they got back on track last week against Flower Mound. I expect Geyer to have everything and more for the top 10 ranked Cowboys.
And as you were alluding to here, this is a matchup of quarterbacks. Not only Kevin Sperry, the Oklahoma recruit for the Geyer Wildcats, but for Coppell, you've got their quarterback, Edward Griffin, a Baylor recruit. And let's hear from the Coppell Cowboy quarterback.
I think our offense is starting to click a little bit. You know, we had 3 new receivers really this year who hadn't had varsity time at Coppell before. And so it took us a little while to click. Took us a little bit of non-district for sure. But, I feel like guys are starting to find themselves within the offense and get used to Friday night lights. It's a whole different atmosphere for sure. Another week, you got to chase that 1-0. And like you mentioned, like Denton Guy is a great team. It's going to be a way for us. So they have a great atmosphere, I know, at their stadium. And so it's definitely going to be a challenge. But we just got to focus on ourselves and each week kind of focus throughout practice. And then when we get to the games, follow the game plan, execute to the best of our abilities. And, from there, we just got to trust that we'll go get the win.
Those bright lights of Friday Night Lights, or Friday Night Stars in our case. But what a quarterback and what a team Coppell has put together.
Yeah, and I mentioned some of the inaccuracy from Denton Guyer and their quarterback. I think Griffin's been the complete opposite. The fact that he's completing over 72% of his passes, leading this undefeated bunch. And he's going up against a defense that does give up the passing yards, allowed an average of over 315 yards per game through the air in its last two contests. Now, a lot of that was from North Crowley, and a lot of that was because Flower Mound can throw the football around the bit themselves. But Coppell is going to try and put up some yardage, put up some points, and they've shown so far they can do it against great competition as well.
All right, let's stay in Class 6A and a big district showdown in District 9 6A in Wylie as the Raiders of Wylie East High School, 4-0 on the season, play host to the Sachse Mustangs, who come in with a 4-1 record, their lone loss in the season opener against Coppell.
Listen, I know we just talked about four powerhouse programs with Coppell, Denton Guyer, Denton Ryan, and Aledo, but there's a lot of talent between these two squads. I'll start with Sachse and what they bring to the table. You look no further than the 5-star wide receiver commit, Kalik Lockett, and what he brings to the table. Number 2 overall wide receiver in the 2025 class. He's got offers from all over the country. Number 12 overall recruit, according to 24/7 Sports, and that's not all. You've got Brendan Haygood. You've got a couple of other guys like Corey Walls that plays very well. This is a team that they will go up against in Wylie East that might be their only competition in district that can match some of that athleticism. It's not the equal side of things, but if they play a solid, clean game, Wylie East has an opportunity to move forward and try and challenge this Sachse bunch.
And Wylie East led by the quarterback, number 4. His name would be Howard Fisher, the 4th. And in Class 5A District 4 5A Division 2, everyone looking forward to this showdown. It's a 3-team race in this district pretty much, and both these teams have knocked off Anna in the last couple of weeks. It's Melissa playing at Lovejoy.
Yeah, when you can go and knock off a reigning state champion like the Anna Coyotes, and the fact that you've done so back-to-back weeks, that means this is a district decider possibly going into the last couple weeks of this regular season. Starting with Melissa, of course, a team that's led by their offensive line and some of their size. I got the chance to see them earlier in the year. They are aggressive in their play calling. They do not want to leave it up to the officials. They don't want to leave it up to their defensive staff as well. They will use their bigger bodies on the offensive and defensive lines to pave the way moving forward, putting up over 45 points per game. I really like what Melissa brings. But on Lovejoy's side, of course, Todd Dodge making the return to the DFW area. Todd has done a great job of bringing some of that firepower that he had at South Lake Carroll back in the day, at Westlake over the last couple of years, and they've established that already with Lovejoy, a team that had some weapons going into it. I think this is a Lovejoy team that has upset on the mind, but they're going to have to play the perfect game in doing so. They did so by winning a shootout, 66-62 over Anna last week. It's going to be a similar type game here in Week 6.
We're comparing scores. Lovejoy, as you mentioned, beat Anna 2 weeks ago, 66-62. Last week, Melissa beat Anna 21-18. But you're thinking it's going to be closer to 66-62.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think it'll be closer.
High school football in Texas.
Yeah.
It usually is like that. All right, we're just getting started here on Friday Night Stars. We turn our attention to Frisco ISD and the showdowns at the Star when we continue in just a moment.
This segment was brought to you by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
Now for our Showdown at the Star on Friday night. How about the school from Prosper, second-year school, Walnut Grove, unbeaten on the season as they will be playing at the Memorial Warriors on Friday night right at Ford Center here at the Star in Frisco as we welcome you back here to Friday Night Stars. And Walnut Grove's got it going on in their second year.
No doubt, the 4-0 start, but the most impressive one was a win over a Frisco school. They'll get their second chance at a Frisco school with Memorial this week, but they took down Emerson in a tight ball game 3 weeks ago, 29-28. They went for two instead of kicking the PAT to tie the game, ended up winning it. That's the first time they faced a Frisco opponent this year, and they're looking to keep some of that success rolling. Emerson, of course, was a state semifinalist last year, so that was a big win for them. And they are looking to stay undefeated and continue working toward that district title.
You know what? In a matter of moments here, tonight's Showdown at the Star features Heritage High School out of Frisco ISD as they host Sherman. And here's more on Frisco Heritage.
We're feeling pretty good about ourselves. You know, we're off to a good start. Got a lot of kids back on both sides of the ball. A little thin in depth, but the kids that we have are playing real hard. We had a great off season, great summer, and fall camp was really good to us. So really clicking right now. I want to try to keep the momentum going forward.
Offense, you know, we really like to go. You know, we really like to push a lot. You know, we got guys that could go deep, a lot of playmakers, and not even just passing, can run the ball too.
I think we're playing really well. We come from 2 years of very strong defense, definitely leading of the team. There's a lot to bring a lot of those guys back and keep going this year.
Dominic and McDonald are two of our senior leaders. They do a great job in leading on and off the field. We can count on them to take care of our players when whether they're in the hallway or they're at Whataburger out eating together. And then, of course, we can count on them on the field to take care of us on both sides of the ball.
Home field being at Ford Center here at the Star in Frisco. And Frisco Heritage won the first two games of the year and set back the last couple of weeks, looking to get back on track tonight.
Yeah, and they played tough competition. It was against Frisco and Lone Star to start off district play, but they've got to find a way to run the ball specifically. Their leading rusher is Denzel Okakuchi, 63 attempts, 380 yards rushing so far, 3 touchdowns. Outside of that, they only have one player that's over 100 yards rushing on the season. So if you can find some other possibilities outside of throwing the football, they've done that efficiently with Vincent Hooper and Tatum Bell, both up over 250 yards each. That can't just be a one-dimensional offense. Coach Kenneth Gilchrist has had weapons, had some athletes in the past that they've got to spread the love around with. They've just got to find their rhythm offensively, and I think they'll have a better start to the year.
But they got to look for is Denzel
Okakuchi.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good. All right, we continue. A turnaround story in the Metroplex. We head to Carrollton when Friday Night Stars continues in a moment.
This segment is brought to you by Whataburger. Whataburger's Buffalo Ranch Chicken Strip Sandwich is back. 3 chicken strips, signature buffalo sauce, and buttermilk ranch. Available for a limited time.
Another one of our featured Whataburger games of the week is this one, taking place at Stanford Stadium in Carrollton. The Creekview Mustangs unbeaten halfway through the season as they play host to the Longhorns of Dallas W.T. White High School. Welcome back to Friday Night Stars. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. And how about more of that turnaround story at Creekview High School? Here's Jet Beecham.
Longtime football coach Dusty Ortiz loves a challenge.
A lot of my life I've been the underdog. So when I see a job like Odessa, like Creekview, I mean, it's just a chance to make a big difference.
After inheriting a winless Odessa High team and turning it around in 3 years' time, Ortiz took over a Carrollton Creekview program that carried a 21-game losing streak.
We definitely persevered a lot. Coach Ortiz brought his atmosphere that he brought from Odessa, brought it over here. You can definitely tell a change.
Well, once he got hired, he sent me a text and immediately knew he meant business. He said he watched film on us, so I already understood from his previous history that he was going to come in and do something special.
In less than 3 months on campus, Ortiz turned Creekview into a winner with a streak-busting victory over Irving in their season opener.
Like, okay, we got the burden off our head. There we go.
I was excited for the kids, the community, the school. I knew it could be something as far as a start to a new streak.
And it was. The Mustangs have marched out to a 5-0 start in what's been one of the best turnarounds in Texas.
It was just speaking greatness into the kids, you know, making sure that they don't settle for anything less than they're capable of.
You want to be stingy. You don't want that losing feeling to come back because you don't know what can happen after that. So after the first one, it's like relief, and the second one, it's like, oh snap, okay, we're legit. And then after that, we just keep the ball rolling.
As this year's team looks to bust another streak, Creekview's 0-7 all-time postseason record.
I think we can compete for a district championship. I think we can get a playoff win, and if not more. I really don't want to sell them short.
We always had the talent. Now we have the coaching behind it. We have the fans, the school, you know, the leadership. So I think it's all coming into play now.
In Carrollton, Jet Beecham, CBS Sports Texas.
Don't you know morale is high at Creekview High School, coming off 2 winless seasons and unbeaten halfway through this season.
It's really a great story, and we actually we're on the board for the Whataburger Coach of the Week, and we gave an award to Coach Ortiz because of that turnaround and what he's done with Carrollton Creekview. It's not an easy thing to turn around a high school team. It starts from the bottom all the way back up to the top. You go from the youth of the community to help instill some of that winning mentality, and they have that. They've got a chance for their first district title since 2015, and then in playing WT White this week, a team that's looking to kind of erase what happened last week against West Mesquite. A win against WT White would go a long way for Creekview in trying to achieve those goals. But watch out for October 24th. That's going to be a fun matchup between them and West Mesquite. If they both are still running the table, that might be the district decider for both of those teams.
All right, when we come back, we wrap up Friday Night Stars. Take a look at one of the top teams in the state in TAPS. Friday Night Stars is back in a moment.
Friday Night Stars, presented by Whataburger. Yes, it's true. All new iced coffee has officially arrived at Whataburger. Stop by and enjoy one today.
All right, final couple of minutes here of Friday Night Stars. Bill Jones along with Kyle Youmans. We spent a lot of time talking about the UIL schools, the public schools in Texas. But how about we give some love to the private school ranks, and in TAPS, one of the top teams in the state this year from Fort Worth, All Saints Episcopal. Coach Aaron Beck's Saints off to a 5-0 start, led by 6'3" quarterback Gavin Parkhurst, a Rice commit who transferred from Fort Worth Trinity Valley after winning an SBC state title last year. Saints on their way to improving on last year's 9-3 record. Let's hear from them.
For us, it's just kind of like another day in the office. You know, last year we started off 4-0 before we fell to Jason Witten and those guys out at Liberty. Had a great year last year, made it to the semifinals. The year before, we made it to the state championship game, lost to a really good Fort Bend Baptist team. And so this year, you know, we think we've got a team. Again, everybody has to stay healthy, right? That's the biggest cliche in football. But if we do, I think we've got a really good chance, you know, to hopefully still be playing late November, early December. This team has it. I mean, you know, everybody tries to define what it is, but just locker room, culturally, the things they do together, this bunch, so far in our non-conference time, they've got it.
So here you go, the district standings for All Saints. They're at 5-0. They are in command, I would say, Kyle Youmans, in that district.
Oh, yeah, and all they do is win close games. They beat Parish Episcopal by 4. They beat Prestonwood by 4. They took down Lift for Life by a significant margin before turning around and taking down ESD by 3. So last week was a bit of relief because they were able to take down West Valley 50-0, just taking charge not only of the district but of their schedule as well. And he mentioned Jason Witten and the Liberty Christian side of things. They don't have them on the schedule this year. Yeah. So it's a little bit easier of a path to get back into the postseason unscathed. They've got some fun ones with Midland Christian and company coming up, but for the most part, this is a squad that is pretty good, and they're moving in the right direction with that Rice committed quarterback as well.
You know, we are now moving to right at the halfway point of the season right now. And so what's on your mind halfway through this high school season?
Well, I think the number one thing is there's a lot of great offense in the area, but the defense doesn't get as much love as they probably should. This is going to be a week where defenses help show that they still win championships in Texas high school football. This is actually my favorite week of games so far because you have number 1 versus number 2, Denton Ryan versus Aledo. That's my favorite game, maybe the Whataburger game of the year possibly whenever it comes to the high school ranks. They've got great games games across the board with Lovejoy and Melissa. This is a week where defensive ball caps are going to be all over the field as they get things done and get things taken care of here in week 6.
He is fired up.
I'm fired up for football
Friday
this
night
week,
stars.
everybody.
He may just run out on that field at Ford Center tonight for the Showdown
Maybe
at
I
the
will.
Star. We'll see you again next week.